So what happens when life is over? 2 weeks ago, we looked at what is time. Then last week, what is life? And now we're asking, what happens to us when we die? The Bible says it is appointed unto human beings to die once, and after that to face judgment. What does that mean? Dave's going to tell us that in Judgment Moments in a few minutes' time.
Hi, Steve. Yeah, listen, I noticed a couple of things in the last two ones. You didn't seem over impressed by the music, so I'm going to do something that I thought that this is a little more bluesy for Steve, and we're going to hear a song called Judgment Day by Mike Zito. Now, Judgment Day is a really, really important idea, the fact that when we die, it's not the end and that we are going to have to face judgment. And it intrigues me that idea still exists in popular culture, and in this song, I'm sure it's very famous in Australia, but I love it anyway. Listen to a bit of this.
On Judgment Day, I'm gonna get dressed up real nice. On Judgment Day, I might be paying a real high price.
Well, I did a bit of background checking on Mike Zito, and it turns out that he had a #1 Billboard album on the blues chart. So he must be famous, Dave. Yeah, there you go.
Well, he is if you're into blues.
If you're into the blues.
Yeah.
But look, it's an interesting song about Judgment Day, and it is in the popular culture. You've got Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Why is the idea of Judgment Day, even in our material world, why is it still around in the culture?
Because it's a really bad idea if we think the bad guys get away with it, that there has to be an ultimate judgment. I remember, I'll just tell you a wee story. I remember I went to visit a couple of drug addicts in my home city of Dundee. And, you know, they were really nice people, but just ravaged by drugs, of course. And they asked me at one point, they said, "Do you believe in hell?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And they said, "Oh, good, really good." I went, okay, I didn't expect that reaction. I said, "Why?" And they told me of a dealer who'd come and taken their kids and hung them out the window and said, "You pay or I'm dropping them." And they said, he's not going to get justice in this world. They said, "We hope he'll get justice in the next." And I actually think that's quite a common understanding or longing, actually, especially amongst the poor and the oppressed.
I found that too with a friend who's a psychologist who said that when he said to one of his clients, "Oh, I bet you wish there were a judgment day." And he goes, "Exactly." And the client's eyes lit up. But what does Mike Zito say about Judgment Day? And specifically, what does he say about how you might get through unscathed?
Yeah. Okay. I thought this one was fascinating. I mean, first of all, the fact that he says that there is a judgment day, and then he talks about needing, he's going to be judged for his sins and various things. And he asks about clothes. Will his clothes get him through? Now, observant watchers of this podcast, vlogcast, vodcast, whatever you call it, we'll see. I think we should take a poll on this, because Steve seems to think, we recorded this all in one go, by the way. Steve seems to think he needs to change his shirt just to show how cool he is. I don't need to change my shirt because I wear the same shirt all the time. So this is actually very realistic. But clothes, he says, will my clothes get me through? Of course not. Your clothes don't get you through. He said, well, will my good deeds get me through? And it's interesting because the Bible says our good deeds are like filthy rags, carrying the clothes metaphor. And we need to be clothed in something else, which is for me fascinating.
There's something about Judgment Day that's very revealing and very exposing. So the idea of having the right clothes on that won't expose you, it comes through the Bible, and it's coming through even his questioning of that. Will my clothes get me through? Will they cover me up? Yeah. And he talks about, I hope I can forgive myself. That seems a bit odd, given that Judgment Day isn't you judging you, it's someone else judging you.
Yeah, that one really surprised me, actually. And it strikes me that he's almost saying, I hope I can look back on my life on Judgment Day and say, yeah, I did some things that are wrong, but I forgive myself. But sin is not primarily against ourselves, although it is, and it is against other people, but ultimately it's against God. And you say, well, I hope God will forgive me. And it's very interesting. If you were Rousseau, you would say, le Dieu me pardonne parce que c'est son métier. There you go. God will forgive me because I'm speaking in tongues for our charismatic listeners. God will forgive me because that's his job. That's what God does. But no, God can only forgive in terms of justice, and it's what Christ has done. And so going back to the clothing thing, it's saying when we stand on Judgment Day and we say, well, Lord, yeah, I screwed up, but Jesus did it for me.
Yeah.
That's a great place to be in.
Yeah, because we kind of want mercy for us and justice for everyone else, don't we?
Exactly. Exactly.
So do you like the idea of Judgment Day?
Yes and no. No, in that, you know, the idea of being judged for every sin or anything, I don't like. The idea that there is justice, though, and that at the end of Lord of the Rings, when he says, that will every bad thing be made right? And I think that is true. And the idea that for me as a Christian, I'm not standing in my own goodness, my own
your own clothes
abilities. I'm not, and I'm not standing, if you like, naked in ugliness. I'm standing there saying, I'm here because of Jesus. Yes, in that sense, I do look forward to Judgment Day. I think if you're not a Christian, by the way, and you're watching this, it's not a day you will look forward to. Yeah,
that's a sobering thought. So there's a good aspect to it, but judgment will walk down our street as well, won't it? Not just the street of the people we want judged. How about I read a Bible verse on this, because I think it's really important that judgment's spoken about a lot in the Bible, isn't it, Dave?
It is, and it's spoken about, dare I say, in a very revealing way, because that's what it's saying it will do. It will reveal.
Yeah, and it says these words in 2 Corinthians 5, verse 10 in the New Testament, a letter written by Paul to a church in Corinth. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive what is due for what he has done in the body, whether good or evil. That's a bit scary, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, that absolutely is. I mean, someone watching this saying, well, I'm an atheist, I don't believe in God, so it doesn't apply to me. Sorry, it doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't say if you believe you will stand before God. You will.
Yeah. You know. And then in 1 Corinthians 4, verse 5, another book in the Bible written before this, therefore judge nothing before the appointed time. Wait until the Lord comes. He will bring to light what is hidden in darkness and will expose the motives of the heart. At that time, each will receive their praise from God. Is that the reason why we shouldn't be too judgy of others?
Yep. Yes, absolutely. You know, you and I both know that there have been scandals and stuff recently with Christian leaders who we know, and people are shocked and they're saying, well, I never thought they would do that. And then there are other people we look and we judge. And, you know, I think on the day of judgment, we will get a real shock that some people who appeared to be, to us, quite ugly or bad in a moral sense, actually turned out to have far deeper depths. And some people who appeared to be very righteous and holy turned out to have far deeper depths in the other way. And that's, you know, bring to light what's hidden in darkness. That's an uncomfortable thought, but I think it's also a wonderful thought.
Well, we'll leave it at that thought, Dave. It does call us to live a different life. It calls us to live a life where our external and our internal sort of match, don't they?
Absolutely. And I don't know what we're going to do next week, by the way, but we'll judge it when it comes. But, you know,
if it comes.
I do think that living in light of Judgment Day can be a positive thing. And certainly not living in light of Judgment Day is a foolish thing. And I hope that people won't be foolish.